Hey folks, it's Harry from Slap Your Daddy BBQ. I have a little surprise I found today. A big box showed up in my doorstep. And it's very cryptic. It's got 1952. So what could that be? Well, the label has a clue because it looks like it came from Huntley, Illinois, from the folks at Weber Stephan Products. I can feel my heart rate increasing now because if it is what I think it is with the 1952 in there, I think maybe Santa Claus has come early this year. The original Buoy 1952 version of the first kettle. This one has a damper on top, and on the inside, this is how it looks like. This is a finished product. In the original version, there was only one damper at the bottom, but in this replica, there are actually three dampers with a standard fire grate and a 22-inch grill grate. So looks pretty standard. Looks like a bowl from a kind of a 22 with some modification. There is no ash catcher at the bottom, so all the ash will drip on the floor like before. For the replica 1952 kettle, you notice doesn't have the temperature gauge that you see in your normal Weber kettle. So there's no way to tell the temperature, but you just have to go by feel. You can use my method of touching the top of the dome. You can touch about a quarter second. That's about 250-ish. And it also doesn't have a ash catcher here at the bottom, so the ash will just drip on the floor. That's okay if you're cooking outdoors, but you can always put a little foil pan underneath it. Since then, Weber has invented the Magic Touch ash catcher, which is super duper convenient. When you buy a kettle, I always recommend you get it with the ash catcher attachment built in. Just costs a few bucks more, but definitely worth the convenience. Looks like a pretty standard 3 damper setup with the fire grate at the bottom, and we can see that the dampers don't have a ash catcher, but I guess in the old days that's kind of how it is. It would fall on the ground. We have the grate on top here, and the lid looks pretty cool and fits nicely. So, and it's got the little Weber damper on the top. Let's see if we can rustle up some recipes. My good buddy Chris Allingham from the Virtual Weber Bullet has a bunch of vintage Weber recipe books. Maybe what I should do in doing a first cook is to look into Chris Allingham's of the Virtual Weber Bullets recipe books to see if I can find a recipe from this era, kind of in the early mid 1950s, so we can fire up this puppy. We can try our first cook on the 1952 replica Weber kettle.